One mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One mic with Big Mike.
Ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah I Bang Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host,
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic. Yeah, man. We made it. Back in the building. Back on the block. It is the One Mic with Big Mike show here on this Hump Day Wednesday. Welcome all. Appreciate you joining me. Feel all right about today's show, man. I feel all right about today. Had a very constructive and informative conversation yesterday that got me feeling pretty good about the direction of the show. Not that I didn't, but feeling a little bit better about where the show is headed, man. Speaking of the show, it's heard every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday starting at 7 o'clock. Right here on Spreaker.com. That is SPREAKER.com, as well as on my website, www.thenumber1MICWITHBIGMIKE.com. That's one mic with bigmike.com. On both sites, you'll see a streaming player as well. Sorry, forgot to say this. The Spreaker app. So in case you can't sit in front of the laptop or the PC or whatnot, and you want to take the show with you, it's always available via the Spreaker app, in which you can click on the little thought bubble you see on the streaming player, whether you're streaming on the phone or the computer, laptop, tablet, either from the website. There's a little thought bubble dancing around, man. Click on that. It'll get you entry into my live interactive chat room where you guys can communicate back and forth with me. You can communicate amongst one another. You can ask questions. You can make comments. You can do whatever you want to do, man. It's a world without laws in that chat room. So go ahead and have at that. Also, if you don't get a chance to stick around for the entire show, or later on in the show, if you pick up any of the shows late, you might join about 30 minutes in or 45 minutes in, and you wonder what was happening at the beginning. Don't fret. You guys can always go check out archived and saved episodes of the show via YouTube, via TuneIn, via iTunes, and now, just recently, the other day, yeah, man, we made it. iHeartRadio. You guys can check out the show there as well. So I'm trying to be everywhere that y'all trying to be. Even on social media, check out my Twitter and my Instagram pages. They both have the same handle, the number one, MICWITHBIGMIKE. And as far as my Facebook page goes, help me get my likes up, man. It's ONEMICWITHBIGMIKE. One mic with Big Mike across the board. And if you ever want to get in contact with me, go to the website, check out the contact page, or if you just want to send me the email directly, it's mike@onemicwithbigmike.com. Now, once again, it's Hump Day. Got a NBA Finals game tonight. Hopefully, it's better than the first two. It doesn't hold the same pattern that we've seen in the first two games. Worse, terrible, and hopefully not an abomination tonight. Hopefully, Cleveland going home will give us some hope that we'll see a decent series, man. Along with talking about the finals tonight, of course, I'm going to do at the bottom of the hour on this day is my daily look back into the annals of sports and I give you guys some sports tidbits, some prominent things that may have happened on this particular day in history. So we do that at the bottom of the first hour, around the 30-minute mark, just in case. In case I have a guest, we move it to the top of the hour, but no guest today. Speaking of guests, Friday, I'm looking forward to possibly talking to my man Kevin Willis, former Atlanta Hawk. I think Kevin Willis played for the Toronto Raptors and a couple other teams, man, but we know him here in Atlanta as a Hawk. Don't talk to him about the finals, man. Talk to him about, a lot of the things that are being said as far as the physical play not being there in today's game. He's one of those physical, big, strong, muscular dudes that you kind of, I remember down here in the Omni, he threw hands with Charles Barkley one time. Maybe more than once, as a matter of fact. I was a young kid, but I vividly remember that. And Kevin has been gracious in the past when we had when Rob Calloway and I were doing the Sports King. So I hit him up today. I wanted to get him on today, but I know it was short notice, so he told me to check back with him on Friday, and hopefully we can make that happen. As far as today's headlines, Some things that I may not even get a chance to talk about, but I'll mention them. Maria Sharapova, the tennis player, she got suspended for 2 years for doping. I don't remember the name of the actual drug, but a notice went out to everybody, I guess, at the beginning of the year to stop taking this drug that was previously legal. But she continued to take it and had been taking it for years. And, she's a Russian, and there's been a lot of things in the news about these Russian athletes as far as international competition goes. And she got pinched, man. And now they gave her 2 years, and apparently she's saying that's too harsh because they agreed that she didn't take it on purpose or she didn't violate on purpose. But the reality is that it would have been 4 games. Not 4 games, 4 years had they thought she was trying to try to cheat the system, I guess. So, yeah, essentially, I guess 2 years is her getting off easy. And, whatever. It's tennis. I don't really care. I know a lot of people found it funny that the accusations usually gravitate towards one Serena Williams, and people feel like it's a day of celebration that she's been vindicated of in some way. Look, I'm the dude that says there's no proof either way that she is or she isn't. The only thing I know is this: that dude that I think he went to jail. The dude that was in the thing with Alex Rodriguez, when he sat down with, I don't know if it's 2020 or whatever it was, whatever news program it was, he said that if you take it right, they won't catch you. It's the dudes that try to, ramp up the recommended dosages that end up getting flagged and getting caught by these drug tests. So, if this is the dude, and, he don't have nothing to lie about at this point, he going to jail anyway. If he's saying that, yeah, I'm willing to believe that anybody is and anybody ain't on it. You know what I mean? That's why when people get caught, I'm not surprised. The Major League Baseball is like, look at how great our drug program is. We're still catching dudes. Well, that also means dudes are still using. And I find it hard to believe that you're catching 100% of guys. Dudes are still using. And then I go back to that comment again. If you using the way it's supposed to be used or the way it's recommended to be used by the people who make the stuff, because we all know the scientists are going to be ahead of the testing in every situation. So all these dudes getting, banned for life and 80 games and all this kind of stuff, I just look at them like they must be idiots. They must think they know better than the scientists, and now they're paying the price, whatever. Other thing that's in the news, the NBA refs, man, they're tired of these 2-minute reports that the NBA is putting out. Did I say NFL? I meant NBA refs. Putting out these 2-minute reports at the end of games. They're saying that it has no real effect on the product or on the game as it is. And as a fan of the sport, I don't care, really. It doesn't matter to me the day after that you kind of pinch the refs on bad calls at the 2-minute mark or 2 minutes to go mark. What about 2 minutes into the game or 2 minutes into the second half? Those calls can be as important. You give Steph Curry his 3rd foul in the first quarter on a phantom call, that affects the rest of that half, my man. Certain things are only doing that for show. I'm cool on it. Quickly, here's what their grievances are. They said the transparency, once again, does nothing to change the outcome of the game. Transparency encourages anger and hostility towards NBA officials, which I think it does. And here's the deal. For all the people who still think the games are fixed and all that kind of stuff, look, don't watch it. The way I don't watch wrestling. Wrestling's a multi-billion-dollar industry. I don't partake in it because the outcomes are predetermined. You know what I mean? As an adult, I'd rather watch things that are left up to skill and effort and things of that nature. So if you think the NBA is rigged or the NFL is rigged, turn the TV off. Telling everybody and being the smartest guy in the room all the time, trying to be, it don't do nothing for anybody. You know what I mean? It also goes on to say focusing on officiating statistics encourages stat-oriented versus game-oriented officiating. It is in the best interest of the NBA and its fans to encourage and develop game-oriented referees that balance game flow and fair play. Also, efforts to promote transparency have encouraged the idea that perfection in officiating is possible, which is not. Perfection is neither possible nor desirable. If every possible infraction were to be called, the game would be unwatchable and it would cease to exist as a form of entertainment in this country. And that points to another bullet point that at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's entertainment, man. And the one thing that baseball is battling is the constant stoppages in the play and the dragging on of the game. And the referees are very, very, they're very aware of where they work and what it needs to be. You know what I mean? So, yeah, they can't call every damn thing. And finally, transparency has been misused as a catalyst by some teams to mobilize fans against the officials in an attempt to coerce more favorable treatment. Yeah. I mean, these to me are very plausible grievances, man. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed one. While the goal of transparency was to promote understanding and credibility, there is no evidence that progress against these goals is being made. Look, if it was my gig, I wouldn't want that either. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want, if I've gotten, because they say they're at 90%. So if I got every 9 out of 10 calls right, and the one I didn't get right happened in the last 2 minutes, and you want to promote that and play it over and over again on TV and Sports Center and Fox Sports and all these kind of things in order to encourage people to feel as though I'm some sort of bum at my gig, because of course no one messes up at their gig. Like, my fries are always perfect. You see what I'm saying? Nah. But for whatever reason, as sports fans, people believe that they should hold the people who are performing at these unrealistic levels and expectations. And we'll talk about that in a little while here when we start talking about LeBron James. The title to this show is Down with the King, ? Shout out to the Sports Kings, Sky Point. Also, we got to talk at some point today about what's going on in baseball. Yeah, somebody else got swung on yesterday again. Yordano Ventura. Yeah, Manny Machado got in his mouth yesterday. And I think something's going to come from that. I'm not talking about suspension and all that, but there's something about baseball that we've got to discuss here at some point today. And apparently yesterday, Roger Goodell was killed. It was Twitter killed. Somebody stole or hacked the account of the NFL and put out a tweet saying Roger Goodell was dead. Little did they know that Roger Goodell is a ginger, thus soulless. So death is not something on the menu for one Roger Goodell. Needless to say, he's not dead. He's up and at it, and people found their way to find themselves some manufactured outrage. How could you joke about something like that? As though joking about that is what kills a person. Like, see what happened when you joke about it? Now look at him. He's dead. That's ridiculous. Like saying, you can't wish that on somebody. Who cares if I do? I wish you'd go bald right now. Totally. And just have one dreadlock right there behind your ear. No, it's not going to happen. So who cares? Aqib Talib got shot over the weekend. I didn't talk about it on Monday, but more details are coming out about that situation, and Adam Schefter's having fun with that. We don't know what's going on. Like, that's the news. We don't know anything. It could be this, or it could be that, or maybe he wasn't even shot. That type of hyperbolic, over the top. Watch me do my job to the 150th percent, which doesn't exist, by the way, if you're not fluent in math. Yeah, just the ridiculous ESPN stuff when there's really nothing to talk about. The finals are winding down. The games are bad. There's days in between the games, so you got to find something because baseball don't give you nothing until somebody get punched in the damn mouth. And I got to address. I've also got to address today these conversations that continue to happen about who could beat who from the past. This past team can beat this Warriors team. This Warriors team isn't that good. Look, man, what are we doing? Like, that's like, I remember doing that in 7th grade. You know what I mean? Like, as a child. I don't know what y'all talking about. Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson? Yeah, but I was a child. I'm an adult now. You know what I mean? I understand the limitations of time travel. You know what I mean? The huge limitations that exist in this world. But because sports fans have been trained. Charles Barkley today was on Dan Patrick, and he used the word stupid like 50 times when it came to sports fans. But you've been trained to feel like that's a thing. You know what I mean? Like, throw out some dumb hypothetical thing and then argue about it. What? And that's exactly what I'm saying. It is too. It's an argument. It's not even like point, counterpoint, point. It's not even that. It's like dudes that be getting like heated because they know absolutely 100% the Bulls of 1996 would sweep the 2016 Warriors. All right, man. But anyway, we'll get more into that as we progress with the show, as well as preview the game tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ABC. The Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Gosh, let it be, man. Just let it be competitive. Like, I'm the dude that I don't give a damn who win. Like, I'm cool with either storyline. Feel me? Like, LeBron brings the championship back to the home team, to the home city. He does it his way. He as a player, seemingly constructed this team. They come back from 0-2. Like, those stories are awesome to me. Look, the 73-9 Golden State Warriors run through the damn Cavs, sweep them or whatever. That's cool too. I just want to see good basketball. I want to see the best players in the world do their thing. You know what I mean? I want to see Steph get busy. I want to see Draymond and Clay and Kyrie. I want to see LeBron. I just want to see him get busy, man. And however it shakes out, it shakes out. Like, I'm not in the business of, yeah, I told y'all this was gonna happen. Yeah, all these things that people think they know are coin flips, especially at this time of the year. We talking about the championships. It's a coin flip, man, and things change at the blink of an eye. So we'll get into the guts of what we've seen in the playoffs or in the finals, and maybe what I hope we get to see here in Game 3 tonight. But first and foremost, right here on the One Mike with Big Mike show, don't forget you guys can join the conversation as well. Shout out to my guy Matt, East Point Made Me. Make sure y'all follow him on his social media at East Point Made Me. He's in the chat room right now. You guys can join him by going to the website. That's one way to do it. On the main page, you'll see a streaming player with a little thought bubble kind of dancing around on the streaming player. Just click on that. It'll get you right on in the live interactive chat room. You can say what up to Matt. You can say what up to me. Get in on this LeBron James conversation I'm about to start. You can also do the same thing by going to Spreaker, SPREAKER.com, Spreaker.com. And the same thing applies. Just click on that little thought bubble. You might even want to do this. Sign up for a free Spreaker account, man. Go ahead and do that and follow me on Spreaker as well. But then you can get into the live interactive chat room via that little thought bubble there. Now, the title to this episode, Down with the King. Well, it really is like Down with the King because I put a question mark on it. See what I did there? Shout out to the Sports Kings, Sky Point. All right. LeBron James is, without doubt, probably the most polarizing athlete that I've ever seen. Definitely the most polarizing in basketball. Now, some people may start hollering like Allen Iverson, right? And yeah, I think Allen Iverson too. But for whatever it's worth, if I had to put the two side by side, some of the things that Allen Iverson brought on himself happened, off the court, some domestic situations, and some of the things that he was involved with off of the court. And I think probably the higher percentage of it was just his overall look and appearance. In a time where the NFL, the NBA was trying to shed an image of thuggery. Here comes Allen Iverson, cornrows, homie. He got the sleeves. I'm talking about the tattoo sleeves. My lady asked me the other day, she's like, babe, why are they all wearing those sleeves? And I was like, well, back in the day, this dude named Allen Iverson used to just get beat the hell up. And he started wearing these sleeves on his elbows because he was injured. But now a lot of the guys just wear them for show. They have padding on them. Some of them have elbow pads actually on them. They're a little bit different than just the regular sleeves that Allen Iverson was wearing. So, yeah, he's another polarizing guy. Kobe went through his phase, but I think LeBron James coming out of let's call it the basketball womb, is probably the most, man. People feel like they need to be either on one side or the other when it comes to LeBron. I don't. Like, I see where there are areas where he's deficient, but I also understand and can recognize that there are far more areas that dude is great. Like, all this talk about being overrated, like, how can you be overrated when you came out of college and that didn't happen, out of high school, and everyone's hollering the chosen one. He's the next this, he's the this, he's the that, and the other. And the first time he steps on the NBA court, he damn near triple dubs. Grown men. And it hadn't stopped yet. You feel me? Now, of course, because of age, because of the mileage, because of how many games he's played, we talking 6 straight finals for this dude, 7 overall. That's a lot of basketball, plus international play with Team USA. That's a lot of basketball. So, of course, yeah, he's on the downslope of his career. You know what I mean? Like, the best is probably come and gone for him. And for a dude like LeBron James, that ain't really nothing to be, like if you got like 95, 80% of LeBron James, that's probably still better than 95% of the rest of the people in the NBA. Let's keep it 100. You know what I mean? Matt's chiming in the chat room. You guys too can too by going to the website, onemicwithbigmike.com. On the streaming player, just click that little thought bubble, and it'll get you in here. The best all-around player in the game currently can play 1 through 5. Yeah. He's talking about LeBron James. Like, the expectations from the people who aren't LeBron fans, or if you call them the LeBron haters or whatnot, the people who will give him no credit for anything, those people, I'm going to address them. I don't usually address, like, total and just outlandish foolery, but I'll do it. The expectation and the Michael Jordan comparison, like, I don't know where that came from. I remember one time talking to Big Tigger about this and saying, like, that is probably the most ridiculous conversation ever. Now to piggyback what Matt is saying, best all-around player in the game, let's really understand what LeBron James is. Not who, what he is. He's something that the world of basketball, that the NBA, the National Basketball Association, has never, ever, ever seen. Ever. That dude is like 6'8", 6'9", 260. More times than not, he's the fastest, most athletic dude on the team. He can handle the basketball. Now, if you want to go to his deficiencies, yeah, that jump shot has been a very inconsistent part of his game from the beginning. And I thought about this today. Like, it may be a situation where LeBron is suffering from what I kind of term as like Michael Jackson syndrome. It's like that dude that no one will correct, because he has this, like, the shot has been the same since he got in the league, and he has this natural fade on the shot, even when he's shooting from 3. Look at Klay Thompson. It's like up and down. He's probably got the most fundamentally sound shot in the game. It's up and down. It's consistent. It's every time he shoots it the same way, whether he shoots 1 for 10 or he goes 9 for 10. That shot is going to look the same. You're going to think it's going in every time he lets it go. With LeBron, it's a very inconsistent jump shot with him in just form, not just in results, in form. And it would seem to be that no one has taken him and said, we got to break this down. We got to get rid of this, man. Michael Jordan. See, now here I am making the comparison, but not really the comparison. What I'm doing is talking about how Michael Jordan wasn't a very good jump shooter coming out of North Carolina. And look at that, kids. Go to YouTube and look at that game-winning shot against Georgetown. Look at the form on that, and then fast forward to a game, any game, the Byron Russell game. That's probably the best game where he freezes the shot, the follow-through for you. Look at the difference in form from Michael Jordan at North Carolina to Michael Jordan busting Byron or Brian Russell's ass for a game winner in Utah. The whole shot got reconstructed, and I think as LeBron evolves and as he becomes more conscious of the fact that he's not physically going to be able to just impose himself against better defensive teams, which is who he's going to always face as the last hurdle in the way of a championship, he's going to have to develop that thing. You know what I mean? Everybody keeps pointing to the post up. I explained this on Monday. This is not 1992. The game is different. Things are allowed now that weren't allowed back then. Things like zone defense. So you turn your back on people People can send people and not even send them all the way. Back in the day when you didn't send somebody all the way, whistle would blow, illegal defense. After 2, you got free throws. See, Matt saying that. Post more. Yeah, that's fine and dandy. But against a team like Golden State, I don't really see it happening. I don't really see it working. I mean, because if it worked, guess what? The post game would still be alive in the league, period. And it's not. Because defenses are allowed to do more to you. What he really has to do is get, like I mentioned it on Monday, Kevin Durant has a shot. It's free throw line extended right at the elbow. Because he's able to elevate and he's so long, you can't block it. And if you notice watching Kevin Durant play, when things aren't going his way, he'll go to that shot. If he's not getting all the way to the rim, he's going with that 15, 16-footer because he knows I work on this day in and day out, and I can make this in my sleep. LeBron just doesn't have that one thing that he can go to when he's not just able to physically overpower you. You know what I mean? It was the downfall of a guy like Shaquille O'Neal. Like, real late in his career, he developed this little ugly jump hook, but even that was still kind of broke. But like when he wasn't able to just out-athlete you, it became a problem. And then the injuries snuck in there. Like LeBron hadn't really faced that yet, the injury bug. But as I mentioned earlier, he's on the downside. So it's coming. You got to assume it's coming. You know, I'm not, like I said before, I'm not wishing it on him as though if I did, he'd like break his leg tomorrow. I wish LeBron to break his leg and then it just snaps. See there? Look what you did. Nah, that's foolery. And with LeBron, you know what we have too? We have very short memories. Not we. I'm not going to involve myself in the crowd of stupidity. People have very short memories. This dude, last year in these same finals against the same team, that dude averaged 39, 13, and 9. Damn near trip-dubbed these dudes for 6 games. You understand what that is? And, like, people say, well, you should start doing it now. Do the same thing you did last year now. Well, you'd probably end up with a worse result. This year's Warriors team, let's keep it 100, man. They better than last year's team. You know what I mean? Like, what worked last year and really didn't work because you lost the damn series anyway. You pulled 2 games out your ass, but really you lost 4-2. It didn't go 7. Like where game 7 was some sort of toss up and some sort of last second shot beat you. No, you lost convincingly in 6 games. So to say do the same thing you did last year and expect a different result, wrong, wrong. You wouldn't tell nobody else to do that in like regular life. Now, although last year was a very inefficient performance for him, he took a lot of shots last year, and that's not in LeBron's mentality, and that's something I want to talk about that when I come back from the break. I'll do on this day, but I want to talk about what my sense of LeBron James is as the basketball player. You know what I mean? He didn't have Kobe's mentality. He didn't have Michael's mentality. He's not those dudes, and there's a reason why. And like I've conjured up this reason why, and it's based on something substantial. It's just not me like spitballing and shooting some flames out my ass. It's not that. It's based on something substantial, something that I've seen with my own eyes, and something that I've heard with my ears. Heard something come out of his mouth, and I'll explain what those things are when I get back from the break and after I do on this day. It's the One Mic with Big Mike show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Spreaker.com, as well as the Spreaker app and on my website, www.onemicwithbigmike.com. That is the number 1 MIC WITHBIGMIKE.com. You guys hop on in the live interactive chat room where you guys can share your thoughts. Holler at my guy Matt at East Point Made Me. Holler at me. If you think what I'm saying is idiotic, by all means, all comers are welcome. Just do that by clicking on that little thought bubble you see on the live streaming player. Click on that. It'll take you and it'll direct you and tell you how to get right up in this live interactive chat room. I'll be back in a minute.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge?
Got to get this all straightened out. Keep a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Derulo. I love that music connects to people all over the country. But unfortunately, so does something else. Childhood hunger. 15 million kids struggle with hunger right here in America. And yet, every year, billions of pounds of surplus food in the U.S. go to waste instead of going to the children in need. Feeding America is working to change this. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks rescues this surplus of food to help provide meals to families in virtually every community in the United States, including yours. But they just can't do this alone. Join me in the fight against hunger in America. For more information on what you can do to get involved, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to One Mic with Big Mike. This is the Hump Day edition of the show. Appreciate you guys for joining me out there. I'm being heard on Spreaker.com. That's Spreaker.com, and the app for all of your mobile devices, as well as on my website, the number one, MICWITHBIGMIKE.com. And when I'm not here, live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you guys can also check out archived episodes of the show, interviews and such, by going to YouTube. You guys can also go to TuneIn if you got the app on your phone, as well as iTunes. And just here recently, you can also go to iHeartRadio and holler at your boy, man. Share it with your friends. Let your friends know about it. Let your people know about it if you're digging what I'm doing. It's a grassroots movement, man. We're trying to get this thing built ground up. You understand? Spent the first segment of the show talking about LeBron James. You know, they got Game 3 tonight, and it's a big Game 3, not just for the team, but, you know, for him individually, man. This is a big, big Game 3. People are basically giving him the old put up or shut up type of treatment, man. And I kind of just want to break him down and talk about from somebody who just wants to speak about the guy rationally, not a guy who's like pro LeBron or against LeBron. Just speak about it rationally, you know, and give you guys some fact-based opinions on the man. You know what I mean? So right now, it's what I do each and every episode, except for when I have a guest. You know, I usually push this segment or this feature to the top of the hour. It's called On This Day, where I take a look back into the annals and the history of sports and give you guys some type of like Jeopardy answers, just in case you ever on Sports Jeopardy or any of that situation.
Now, let's take a look back. On this day.
All right. Let's get it over with. Short and sweet. On this day in 1934, the Cincinnati Reds became the first Major League team to use an airplane to travel from one city to another. They flew from Cincinnati to Chicago. Short flight. But still the first. Still counts as the first, right? On this day in 1950, the Boston Red Sox beat the St. Louis Browns 29-4. Where the hell was the mercy rule? Shoot. On this day in 1961, the Milwaukee Braves set a Major League Baseball record with 4 consecutive home runs in the 7th inning. Probably the trivia question would probably be who was the pitcher, in which I do not have the answer for you. On this day in 1966, the NFL and AFL announced plans to become the NFC and AFC in 1970. So it still took 4 years for them to get everything ironed all out. Al Davis was a big part of it, I remember. Not remember. I've heard. I've read. I wasn't born then. On this day in 1968, Don Drysdale pitches a record 58th consecutive scoreless inning. On this day in 1986, the longest 9-inning American League game took place between the Baltimore Orioles, who beat the New York Yankees 18-9. The game lasted 4 hours and 16 minutes. That seems short. Seems like there's been longer games than that since then. And finally, on this day in 1991, former New York Jets Mark Gastineau, what many people still believe is the true and outright sack record holder based on how Michael Strahan accumulated that last sack. Mark Gastineau won his first pro boxing fight in just 12 seconds. Yeah, that sounds like somebody's fighting the damn janitor. I'm just saying. And that is your Hump Day edition of On This Day. Absolutely. But getting back to the topic du jour, I think that's how they use that term. Talking about LeBron James, the king, the chosen one, all those things, and people like somebody said on the haven for ignorance, social media, LeChump James, yeah. Anyway. So I told you guys I want to talk about LeBron, the basketball player LeBron James. Like, obviously you don't know the man as a person, but over time you read enough about somebody, you see enough things reported on him and things of that nature. You get a sense, and you couple it with his style of play. You get a sense of who he is and the things he believes in as a basketball player. If you ever seen that LeBron James documentary called More Than a Game, there's some very interesting things about how he came up playing basketball. Stories about him as a kid, being better than everyone else, but kind of being shy a little bit, shy to show out the way he probably could have against kids that he knew had nowhere near his skill level. You move on from that, he goes to high school and he's playing with all his boys, and they're not just his boys. These dudes are so close to him, like they still work with him now. You know what I mean? They're like his family, and it seemed always to be like something that he was in search of and he wanted. You know what I mean? Thus, the exodus to Miami. You know what I mean? He got a chance to play with his homie, and he took it. He gave Cleveland 2 contracts worth of finals, and it didn't work out, man. And he bolted, and a lot of people held that against him. And I said it at the time. We were doing shows at the time over at CBS, and I was like, look, man, if you're not from Cleveland, what the hell are you that mad about? You know what I mean? Like, I personally felt like the only thing that kind of hit me in a certain different way is the fact that he did the whole I'm gonna do it at the Boys and Girls Club thing, and it's gonna make $40,000 for them. And had all the little kids sitting there while it was so awkward, man. Like, dude, you don't need that to soften the blow. And it felt like that's what he was doing, trying to soften the blow of this decision he was going to wreck a whole city with. And, like, you could have just sat down with whoever, was it Jim Lampley? You could just sat down with him and did it, man, and cut the check for $4,000, man. You got it. You know what I mean? Or $40,000 or whatever it was. Speaking of that, let me pause for a second as we talk about the man who he is. I just don't want to not remember to bring this up. LeBron James is reportedly spending $41 million, not $40,000, $41 million to send over. I think it's like 1,100 kids to college, man. You know what I mean? It's like that's hard to hate, man. I'm gonna keep it 100, man. That's hard to hate. You know what I mean? Like. And people like me, and I'll say we in this situation, we hold Michael Jordan and put him on this pedestal, and the main reason we do is because of what we didn't know about Michael Jordan. Like, we knew about certain things, like him punching Steve Kerr and all that, but because we love Mike, it was like, I don't care, whatever. He probably deserved it. We didn't care at the time. There were no cameras around, so it was just this rumor that I think inevitably was proven true. We didn't know how bad of a guy he was, and I still don't think we would have cared based on the environment, the social media environment. We wouldn't have really cared. We care now because there's this feeling. People feel like they can touch these athletes because they retweet things and they tweet things and they at people and things of that nature, and we feel like we're actually touching these people and that we know these people, and that's not the case. They're still anonymous to you. Like, don't get it twisted. You know as much about that person as some PR person, if they're doing their damn job, wants you to know. And as far as LeBron goes, the things that we know about him, I mean, yeah, we gotta keep it, man. We gotta, like, for real. Like, it just seems like this would be the dude that you applaud. He got his wifey. He's a father to his kids, like all the things that you're supposed to do, by the way. I'm not giving him a cookie for it. What I'm saying is that it's a dude who ain't running around in trouble all the time and all these guys. He speak out of turn sometimes. He tends to do little sheepish things like those subtweets and those type of things. Yeah, but once again, you not doing that to me. Like Kyrie Irving should be pissed about that, or Kevin Love, or whoever he's passively aggressively mentioning, but by not mentioning in these tweets. Not me. I don't care. All I want to see is this dude ball. That, like, if I had to be disappointed about anything in this series, it's that, man. It's like it doesn't seem like he's grasping a hold of the opportunity. You know what I mean? And Matt makes this point, and a lot of people make this point. Matt's in the chat room. You guys can join him in there by going to the website, onemicwithbigmike.com on the streaming player. Click on the little thought bubble icon. You guys can join the chat room as well. He talks about how LeBron cries a lot on the court, and he sells calls, and sometimes, look, I'm the dude that'll say it immediately. Like, sometimes it's real foolish. Like, when my man, like, barely hit him in the lip and LeBron flew into the front row, that's kind of absurd. But I will also say this. LeBron, he's officiated differently he's officiated kind of the way we used to see Shaq officiated. Like, so little things affect him because he's so huge and so strong and so fast. So little things affect him that in his mind, in order to get the calls, he has to make it look worse than what it is. You know what I mean? So I'm not really that bent out of shape about that. I understand gamesmanship. Like, he may be crying about a call. I heard, who did I hear tell this story? One of those sideline reporters told a story, and it was an awesome story. He talked about the things that we don't see happening, like the games within the games. Like, LeBron will do all that stuff on the court to the referee, and then he'll come back out, like at a timeout or something. He'll, like, be in the corner with the referee and, like, yeah, that was a good call. You got me on that one. So in both situations, he's buttering the referee up to get his calls, but those are the things we don't see. And I thought that was a very good indication of, like, that's not a dude who doesn't understand the situations that he's in. That some games, it takes some gamesmanship sometimes. You get on somebody's good side, because these referees, guess what? They are human. As unbiased as they're supposed to be, they're still human. And, being nice. I saw a study one time that says when you're dealing with someone, like, over the counter, like at a hotel or something like that you'll get better service if you notice their name tag and start immediately referencing them by their name, as though you guys have already known each other for so long. Like, hey, Jessica, I was wondering, what are the processes to getting upgraded to a suite and things like that. And you'll be amazed at how things turn out in your favor. Of course, not every time, but, it's a scientific thing that's been studied. You know what I mean? The way you treat people. Shout out to Renee. Renee, thank you, man. Me and Renee stood on the phone yesterday for way longer than I don't talk on the phone at all. Like, that's probably going to be all my phone minutes for the month. You know what I mean? All the minutes on my account is the wifey. I don't talk. I text. But, I had a very enlightening conversation with Renee about the show's direction, and she's helping me out with things on, getting my social media situation tidied up because it's a hot damn mess. And, did my first video promo today. Be looking out for the video promos to be, kind of let you guys know what's going on the show before the show actually starts, doing it video style. So you get to see my ugly mug on your social medias. Follow me also on Twitter and Instagram at @1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. But back to LeBron James and the makeup of the man, right? Like, people keep, like, Phil Jackson today, he needs to have a Michael Jordan moment and take over the game. Here's the thing. Michael Jordan's taking over the game is different than LeBron's taking over the game. You know what I mean? And I told you guys, the things that I'm saying, they come from a place of observation. The documentary More Than a Game, that gives you it gave me a lot of insight on who LeBron James is and why he is the way he is. This guy that's so big and so strong and so athletic that can do anything he pretty much wants to on the basketball court, but usually doesn't. And why is that? But he was a guy who kind of just didn't want to do that, what he felt like was doing that to his teammates, rather than a guy like Reggie Miller, who is like, yeah, me shooting a lot is doing something for you. You know what I mean? Michael Jordan, like, me shooting the ball is me doing you a favor. With LeBron James, there was a night, and everybody remembers this night. Kobe Bryant went up to Toronto and bust Jalen and my dude Sam Mitchell for 81 points, right? And so, like, it's hot news in the NBA. So they're going around asking all the stars, you know, about Kobe's night. Here's what LeBron said. And this tells you everything you need to know about this guy's mentality as a basketball player. He said, if I had a night like that, I wouldn't be able to look my teammates in the eyes the next day. And me, I'm the dude who was like, yeah, these other N-words just need to understand. I'm better than y'all. It ain't even a conversation. So if I get 81, in which it was a game where they needed all 81, that game in Toronto, it wasn't a blowout game or anything like that. They needed the 81, as opposed to the game a week earlier in Dallas where he torched Dallas for like 70 in 3 quarters or 60-something in 3 quarters, something ridiculous. Kobe, I mean. So now to know that, you got to feel foolish about expecting this dude to just step out, this 30-year-old man who's experienced every level of success in the sport that he plays, every level. Olympic gold medals. He's got MVPs out the ass. He's got finals MVPs. He's got Larry O'Brien trophies. He's got every all-star game appearances. He's got everything, all NBA, everything that you can possibly accomplish as an individual basketball player. He has it. But now the team is down 2-0. And now people expect for him to step outside of his natural mentality to do something different. I think that's the worst thing you can do under pressure. Try to beat somebody else. The reality is this. And let's put it in perspective, into rational perspective. This team that they're playing, one, came out of freaking nowhere. Like, who 3 years ago was like, yeah, man, we're going to be talking about this team being the best team of all time? No one. No one. Record-wise, I'm saying. Because I know people want to have a stupid-ass argument. I don't know about that. Them Bulls in 96. All right, calm down. But who thought that this was... LeBron didn't. He went back to Cleveland like, yeah, it's about to be yummy up in this joint. You know, I'm going to get me, Kyrie. I'm going to get this kid, Andrew Wiggins, out the door. Get your ass out of here. Bring in this boy that's getting 20-something and 12. What's Kevin Love getting? 26 and 13 or something like that this final year in Minnesota. I'm going to get this dude in here, and it's going to be Miami all over again. Plus, I know based on me humbling the owner, ain't no Pat Riley here. I run this joint. It's me. So everything seemed to be, you know, the crystal ball seemed to be telling a clear picture. And I remember the weekend that the stuff came out about Kevin Love. I was doing the overnight show at over at CBS, and my guy Branson Wright came on with me. He used to cover the Cavs for the Cleveland Plain Dealer, and he and I both talked about that Andrew Wiggins decision. Like, a lot of people are having, like, you know, that hindsight situation. Immediately before it even happened, I was like, nah, I don't think that's the move. No. You got a young, athletic, defending kid that's gonna run the wing for you. Nah, like I didn't know how good he was gonna be, but what he already was. When you got LeBron James, a dude who needs the ball in his hand, Kyrie Irving, a dude that needs the ball in his hand, and a dude like Andrew Wiggins, who at the time, first of all, he's gonna be a rookie, so he wouldn't, even if he needed it, he wouldn't be able to demand it. That's ridiculous. But, you know, understanding LeBron's situation as well, he understood that everything was about to plateau and then be on the backside. So let me get a veteran in here, somebody who, you know, wants to win. He wants to get out of Minnesota and do his thing. But then when you play with LeBron James, Chris Bosh said it also, that you got to do some changing, man. Like, your game got to take some different turns to play with LeBron James because of who he is. And also going back to those limitations in his game. He's a guy who needs space. He needs to be able to navigate within the paint area because he can't depend on shooting jump shots. Even from the mid range, it's not really something that's automatic. And you would think that at this point in the game, it would be time to develop that. We've already kind of gone over the answer that everyone has. You need to get in the post. And you need to start dominating from the post. Here's what I'll say about that. Like, even if that is the case, right? A couple of things have to derive from that as well. Like, you got to start getting dudes in foul trouble if you're going to do it. Because if it's all about getting in the post, understand what the Warriors are going to tell you every time. Hit these damn twos. Because what we going to do is we going to hit three. Right? So for every, like let's just say everything is even. They're hitting all their shots, which of course is not reasonable. But every 2 times you go down the court, you're going to get 4 points. Every 2 times I go down the court, I'm going to get 6. And they'll take their chances with that. This is what happens with this team, man. You find yourself, and you think you're in this good situation, like if you're the opponent, like, okay, we up by 1, everything's rolling. And then before you blink an eye, you're down by 9. Because, one, contrary to popular belief, this team plays defense. They got very active hands, and the one thing that they do that no one really ever points out is their defense at the rim. Like, they have to practice the verticality. They do it a lot, man. They have, the rule says that even if you're in the restricted area, if you go vertical and make someone finish over you, no matter if there's contact, a lot of times those will be no calls. You just don't come down with your hands and things of that nature. And Draymond does a very good job of that. Like, this dude is 6'7", generously 6'7", and at times he's the rim protector, like 2 or 3 blocks a game. That's real stuff, man. That's stuff that's practice, man. And so when you see the Cavs missing these as many shots as they're missing at the rim, it's not by accident. It's not at all by accident. Now, sometimes Bogut can find himself in foul trouble, so can Ezeli. They're natural bigs. But if both of them play the way they played, like they played tonight, like they played early in Game 2, turn the lights out, man. Turn the lights out. I made the comment last year about these same 2 teams. Like, sometimes, man, it's just too many bullets. It's too many guns with too many bullets. You know what I mean? Like, they don't just have, like, revolvers shooting at you. Everything they got is extendo clip. And they just busting wide open at everything. And inevitably, somebody's going to hit. Last game, it was Draymond. Game before that, look, let me share this article with y'all. And it's so awesome. It talks about, in the last 4 games, here are the Golden State Warriors' best players on the court. In Game 6 against Oklahoma City, it was Klay Thompson. You remember that, the 41-point game with 11 three-pointers? In Game 7, it was Steph with 36 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds. He only turned the ball over 3 times, which is an Achilles heel of this team. They get kind of loose with the basketball. In Game 1 against Cleveland, it was Sean Livingston with 20, shot 8 for 10, Andre Iguodala with 12, 7, 6, and then the defense that he played on LeBron. In Game 2, of course, we know the man, Draymond, went off from the three-point line, ended up with 28 points. Now, let's look at Cleveland's, just to illuminate my point about the guns, how many guns they have. They don't have to have good aim. They're going to hit something. Here's Cleveland's last 4 games and the best player on the court. LeBron James in Game 5 against Toronto, 23 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. In Game 6 against Toronto, once again, LeBron James, 33 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. In Game 1 versus Golden State, almost had a triple-double, 23 points, 12 rebounds, and 9 assists. Some steals and some blocks in there as well. And in Game 2, in that 33-point dragging, LeBron James, once again, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, 4 steals. So the people who don't like LeBron James and want to see him fail, they're not going to want to point at Kevin Love. They're not going to want to point at Kyrie Irving, first and foremost. They're not going to want to point, who, by the way, Jesus Christ, he's having a DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry-esque finals, man. 30%. And ain't guarding nobody at all. You understand me? Yeah, there's problems with this team. J.R. Smith ain't doing nothing. You know, Tristan Thompson, I mean, come on, B. Like, your man got you money. Pay him back, man. Like, Tristan Thompson And if they decide to go Timothy Mozgov today, like the problem that people experience with this lineup of depth, and I'm going to talk about that here in the next segment, that lineup of depth, is that no one has found their way, except for Oklahoma City, and not consistently enough, have made them pay on the offensive glass. Like, you've got to be offended. And if Kevin Willis joins me on Friday, I'm going to definitely talk to him about this. If that's a dejecting thing, when you know you should be, because Draymond, in the world of Giants, is a midget. But he got way too much heart for most dudes. He's too active, and he wants it. Like, it seems like one of those nebulous things that you say, you just want it more. But he really does. He fights on the boards. And if you can't match that with your bigs, and you're not making shots, and you're not offensive rebounding, it's a problem, because their 5 is Draymond. Draymond gets the rebound. You know what happens? He starts to break off the rim. And now you got Curry, and you got Clay flanking you. You got Iguodala and them boys running down the middle of the court, and Draymond, as your center, is making the decision on the break. And not more times than not, he makes the right one. That's where you end up in trouble if you're the opposition. So everyone's talking about, because of course everyone's smarter than Ty Lue, and we got to talk about Ty Lue as well. Everyone's smarter than Ty Lue. You got to go big. That's what you got to do. You can't play this small game with the Warriors. I will remind everyone, this team lost 9 games out of 82. And I mentioned it on Monday. When I start reading off some of the names of the teams they lost to, the Milwaukee Bucks, non-playoff squad, the LA Lakers, non-playoff squad, that Washington team, non-playoff squad. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you can just write that off to like mental lapses. Teams like that. Like, they also lost to Dallas and a couple of other teams that I can't remember. San Antonio, they lost to San Antonio as well. And Portland after the All-Star break. But think about how good this team is. This ain't no regular team, as much as Magic and Charles Barkley and whomever else, these old ass dudes want to make it seem like it. You know, these backhand compliments, like, yeah, I mean, they're a great team, but they're like at the lower echelon of the good teams. Says who? You know what I mean? Who says who? And based on what? Because you don't approve of the style of play? Matt's chiming in once again on the LeBron James post game. Says he can fade away from the post like Kobe and Michael Jordan. Yeah. It's, you know what's hard for me to do? It's hard for me to use guys like that as the rule when clearly they're the exception. You know what I mean? Like, those two dudes are of not a different caliber than LeBron. Well, yeah, they are. As players, they are. They're of different calibers than LeBron. And again, you know, a lot of these things that we talk about are a lot easier said than done. Like let's understand. Both Kobe and Mike both played in the triangle offense that had that high post built in for a lot of Kobe's career and Michael Jordan's whole career. The illegal defense was in play. So if you wanted Kobe to just start getting busy on somebody, you know what you did? You just cleared out the side. You cleared out the whole damn side of the court, and no one could come and do anything without you seeing him coming from a mile away. That's the way the game is played now. It's more pick and roll now, more free flowing, more pick and roll offenses. So that's why my opinion is kind of different from yours, Matt. That develop something in the mid range, because with your elevation, your height, your width, you don't have to necessarily back people down to get where you want to go. It's the same way Kevin Durant does it. That dude is a damn beanpole. He ain't backing me down. I wouldn't think. I mean, I got kind of, the lower body on this thing ain't. Yeah, ask about me. See if they ain't hurt. It's the One Mike with Big Mike show. I'm going to take a break. Come back for the top of the hour. We're going to talk about, what did I mention? I forgot what I mentioned. we're going to talk about more about LeBron James, but kind of morphing the conversation into the past versus the present comparisons. And we'll do that next on the One Mic with Big Mike show with me, Big Mike, on this hump day. Make sure you guys check out the website as well as Spreaker.com and the app for all your mobile devices. And once you're there, make sure you click on the thought bubble you see on the streaming player. That'll take you to my live interactive chat room. Renee Cooper's in the house. Matt is also in the building at East Point Made Me. Renee, what's your social media at Renee Cooper 3 something? She'll tell me during the break, and I'll tell you guys later. How about that? It's the One Mic with Big Mike show.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better, and kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
Hi, I'm Layla Ali. I might be undefeated in professional boxing, but there's one problem even I can't fight alone: childhood hunger. Over 17 million kids in America may not know where their next meal is coming from. That's 1 in 5 children. Yet billions of pounds of surplus food produced right here in America just get thrown out every year. That's more than enough to feed every last hungry child. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids before it goes to waste. But they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by going to feedingamerica.org. Together we can knock out hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
One mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One mic with Big Mike.
You know, ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah, I Banged Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host.
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
One mic. Yeah. Getting ready for game number 3 at the Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland. Looking at Klay Thompson with that perfect ass jump shot, getting warmed up on this hump day. Appreciate everybody for joining me, man, whether you're just listening or you're in the chat room. I appreciate you all, man. Appreciate everyone who spreads the word about the show, everyone who comments on it, whether it be, criticism or just complimentary. Doesn't matter to me, man. I take it all. If you guys want to be a part of the show, either go to Spreaker.com. That's where I broadcast Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 7 o'clock, or go to my website, One Mic with BigMike.com. That is the number 1 MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. And while you're there, and while you're looking at that streaming player, click on that little thought bubble you see right there. It'll take you right to my live interactive chat room, where Matt is, where Renee is as well. And Renee is correcting me, as is usual. Everything, all her social media is at 3 p.m. media. Oh, excuse me. See, idiot again. 3 p.m. _media. That's for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And my guy Matt is at East Point Made Me. Now, I spent a whole hour talking about LeBron James, but kind of like, integrating talk about this game that's coming up tonight, because I'm interested to see how this team comes out at home, especially, the way we're used to seeing role guys. Guys like Channing Frye, maybe Matthew Dellavedova, play at home, the energy of the home crowd, and sleeping in your own bed last night, and all those things that people talk about influencing the way players play. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the case in this situation, because I mentioned it earlier. Sometimes the guns they got are just better than the guns you got. You know what I mean? And from the look of last game, they don't even have guns. They got popsicle sticks, and the Warriors got AKs. We'll see if that changes tonight. Hopefully, as a basketball fan, man, I hope it does. I truly hope it does. I'm talking about LeBron James, like I mentioned. And now everyone's now trying to fix. We got to fix LeBron. We got to fix still to me, the best player in basketball right now. Y'all know Steph Curry's the MVP. But as an all-around basketball player, someone who does everything pretty well, not he didn't shoot jump shots particularly well, but there's a chink in most great players' armor. But Matt points out that Vince Carter developed a crazy shot as he got older, and it keeps him in the league. And I'll concede to that, but I also concede to the fact that it's a survival mechanism for Vince to do exactly that, stay in the league. By the way, Vince Carter just won a Teammate of the Year award. That don't really sound like much, but that's some good stuff, man. That team he was on down there in Memphis went through a lot this year, man. And Vince apparently was, part of the glue that kept those guys from falling completely apart with all those injuries that they had and starting a bunch of D-League dudes in playoff games and things of that nature, man. So shout out to Vince Carter, Vinsanity, formerly known as Vinsanity. But with LeBron, think about what we're talking. We always got to make sure we do this. Put what we're talking about into its proper perspective. When you say LeBron is 2-4, or what is it, 2-5 or whatever, in finals, understand we're talking about the finals, the championship competition. So whatever he was doing the last 6 straight times, whoever he was, and it's probably the thing that's probably spoils you the most, because it's harder to pick apart your own situation when the things that you're doing are bringing you success, and success on a large scale. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm always talking about how much of an idiot Stephen A. Smith is, right? But what he does and the way he does his job and the way he does it for the people he works for has allowed him a very large amount of success in this particular industry. So how foolish would it be for Stephen A. Smith to listen to an idiot like me and say, you know what, maybe I should be more reasonable in the things I say? Nah, he's paying the bills being an idiot. By all means, I'm not the knock the hustle dude at all. You understand? So it's hard for now to say, because this all-time team is beating the Cavaliers, that LeBron needs to change things. Vince Carter changed because he had to. You know what I mean? He wasn't going to be in the league. Yeah, LeBron still got, in prostitute talk, he got like 2 or 3 more years on his back doing it the way he's doing it now. And hopefully in that time, we'll see a transformation. Kind of the way with Michael Jordan. That fadeaway didn't just come because Mike wanted to. Like, Mike was racking dudes up, you know what I mean, on a regular. But then when he saw them Pistons, and they was like, yeah, bring your ass in here if you want to. It's going to be some elbows in your damn mouth. And they wasn't playing. Yeah, Mike was like, you know what I probably should start doing? Yeah, backing dudes down and fading away from all that contact in there. Yeah, it was out of necessity. And with LeBron, everything looked good just a week ago. Remember them shooting 51% against the Atlanta Hawks, having record shooting nights? Everything looked great. It looked like the Warriors were going to finally knock off, not the Warriors, sorry, the Thunder were going to finally knock off the Warriors, and it was going to be all good. And in the blink of a proverbial eye, 3-1 turned into 4-3, and the collective sigh or the collective reaction, you got to believe, out of Cleveland was like, oh, you know what I mean? And it's playing itself out right now on the basketball court. I saw this article today, referencing something I was talking about in the previous segment, about the small lineup, the depth lineup, the lineup of depth, and how it came about. And I found this to be captivating reading today. That so many things happen that a lot of times we may think just happened by chance, or they were predestined to be that way. And that is not necessarily the case when you talk about the Golden State Warriors. And I'll integrate this along with the LeBron James talk as well. But this lineup coming to be, to me, exemplifies what this team is. When you see these dudes and they play with the trust and the belief that they have in one another, that's not just something that now after reading, well, I believed it, but now it becomes so much more apparent that this is from the top down, that there's a trust that the people in the front office are going to do their job to get the best players in here to make things work. They're going to go out and get the best coach. Like, people was pissed off about that Mark Jackson thing, but if you remember very clearly, one of the biggest things was that Mark Jackson didn't trust his assistants, and he wouldn't let the people above him do their damn job. He wanted to do everybody's job, and he wanted to rest on the fact that the players liked him. Well, I'm sure they like Steve Kerr, too. Going for 2 championships in a row, 73 wins later. Yeah, I'm sure they like him, too. The difference is they all got rings now. So this Def lineup, let me find the guy's name, because I definitely want to make sure I give him the credit. He's a Warriors assistant named Ken. God, me and these damn names. His name is Ken. He last year, after they went down 2-1 to the Cavs, he suggested to Steve Kerr this lineup. Now, here's the part where we talk about trust. Steve Kerr didn't trust this lineup. He didn't want to do it. Did I say Ken? His name is Nick. God, I'm terrible. His name is Nick Uren. That's even funny too. Because I'm a child, his name is Uren. U''REN. Uren. Anyway, you hate to piss him off when you. Anyway, he's a special assistant for the Warriors. Now he suggests this combination to Steve Kerr to get the team going. Right now, Steve Kerr didn't trust this group enough. He didn't want to do it, but because he trusted the man who was suggesting it, he went with it against himself. Now, you talk about the things that make a coach great or management great, right? Is giving their people opportunity. And he did, and now look what's happening. You can't do no one can do anything, can figure this thing out. It's to the point. Let me read you guys what my guy, Draymond, probably my favorite player on the team, what he says it feels like being a part of that lineup of death with Harrison Barnes and AI, Andre Iguodala, and Clay and Steph and himself. He says, quote, "There's panic. It's like they're thinking," talking about the other team, it's like they're thinking, I have to get somebody out there. I have to get somebody in there. I have to do something. The reactions we get are pretty funny. So it's almost like mentally they realize it's like those old Cowboys teams used to feel like getting off the bus. We've already beat a certain amount of these teams just getting off the bus because of the mystique around what we do. That's a terrible place to be, and you can see it kind of playing out in this series. You can see it playing out in the firing of David Blatt, right? You can see it playing out in the way that the Cleveland Cavaliers have decided to play basketball. We got to go slow, Tyronn Lue. We got to pick up the pace. We got to go faster. And Golden State is like, sure, let's do that. You know what I mean? And if you can go faster than we can go, well, maybe you got a chance. But it ain't happening. You guys know there's very few times where I go statistically in the show, unless I need to prove it, at least I need to cement a particular point. They talk about this lineup in the way you would talk about a turbo booster. That you pay attention, they only use it like 15 minutes a game. But when they do, it's lethal. Like that third quarter roll around, and that's the time that I start looking. I start looking at like, all right, something about to happen. Like when not if it's going to happen, like when is it going to happen? That avalanche, that tsunami of points that you're not getting and they're getting, that turns a 2-point deficit into midway through the quarter a 14-point advantage. When is that going to happen? And somewhere around 70-something times this year in the regular season it happened to a different team. This lineup itself, they shoot 53.5% from three. So once again, you take your ass down there and get those twos, because that's pretty much what that's a good shooting night from two. 50%, that's good. These dudes do it from three. You go get your twos and watch this lead build, even if you're hitting the shot. And most of the time they're not, because the defensive efficiency of this group is high as well. They outscore their opponents by 47 points per 100 possessions. Yeah, it's hard out here, man. So tying it into the LeBron James expectations and the fact that they're the Buffalo Bills, the Cavs are the Buffalo Bills. Well, first of all, this is only the second in a row for the Cavs, first of all. And two, like, as an adult, once again, looking at that Buffalo Bills run of 4 straight AFC championships, you can't really sneeze at that. You can't really look at that and call it a true failure. Now, of course, you didn't get the ultimate prize, of course. But in reality, it's football one. To do 16 plus how many ever in the playoffs 4 times in a row and end up in the Super Bowl, that's a hellified accomplishment. While that something just came to my mind, Bruce Smith, man, is now the latest of former great players that's come out now talking about the things that he can't remember and the aches and pains that his body's he's constantly in based on his playing time. I didn't even read the article. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I saw the headline and I don't know if it was laziness, but I just kind of kept going by it because it feels like more of the same. You know what I mean? And there are people who are going to say these guys are complaining about making all this money. And just understand, it's more to it than that. People lying to you, telling you that, you'll be all right. The cigarette industry or the tobacco industry went through the same thing. There's nothing wrong with smoking a cigarette. While you're pregnant, do that. If you're overweight and you got a heart condition, by all means, smoke away. That was wrong. And that's the same thing the NFL did in their past. But getting back to this lineup of death, this death lineup, in comparison to what I just got through saying to you about the 47 points per 100 possessions, the next closest team is this Cleveland team, but they're at 24.2. You feel what I'm saying? It's real out here, man. And the Golden State GM was on Colin Cowherd the other day, and he was very, very forthright with making the point that a lot of things that happen that contribute to success, they involve some luck. Not trading, not letting Steph Curry walk in favor of Monte Ellis. We know Monte get buckets, but the oft-injured Steph Curry seemed to be. They kind of saw a better future with Steph, and they picked right. Not trading Klay Thompson and extending him. I remember the deal, too. It was like $71 million over how many every years for Klay, and people was like, for a shooter? They're going to trade him for Kevin Love, who, by the way, is out tonight with a concussion still. Whatever the NBA concussion protocol is, I don't know, but he's out. I don't know how many of y'all heard this before the show started. Charles Barkley, God, he's such an idiot, man. And people just walk away like, wow, man, that was Charles Barkley. But did you hear what he said? This dude said there's a difference between a football concussion and a basketball concussion. And the reasoning is because football and boxing are 2 real men sports. It's like Mike Wilbon's there and Lindsey Zarniak is there talking to him and both just sitting there smiling, looking at this dude. I'm like, no one's going to say anything about what he just said. that a blow to the brain, your brain cares about which sport you were playing when it got damaged. God, man. I blame y'all, man. Dang it. I blame y'all. It's the One Mic with Big Mike show. Spreaker.com is where I'm being heard. That's Spreaker with an R. It's like speaker, but there's an R in between the P and the E. I'm also on the website, onemicwithbigmike.com. Go there, either place, or either via the Spreaker app, and you guys can join the live interactive chat room right now. and get in on the conversation via that little thought bubble you see dancing around there. Just click on that, get you right up in here. We got to talk about Ty Lue. You know what I mean? We've got to talk about Tyronn Lue. David Blatt, the guy who got him to the finals last year, without Kevin Love, without Kyrie Irving. There was no Channing Frye last year either. They were able to find their way to winning 2 games over the eventual champions. This year, very few people are giving them a chance to get the same amount of games this year. Like, people are feeling like they're being generous by giving this team credit for possibly winning 1 game. I heard Brian Windhorst today talk about how bad this team is coming out of timeouts. They're the worst team in the league after a timeout. That points to no one else. That's your coach. Like, some dudes like Brad Stevenson, like it seems like it almost appears when you watch that team play that they're like 100%, the Celtics, coming out of timeouts. He draws up some wonderful plays, man, some effective plays, and the results are good. You know what I mean? This team that's sitting in the – wait. LeBron James has on a do-rag. I can't make this stuff up. Wait a minute. Is it 2002? What's happening right now? Oh, God. Like, he don't know, man. Like, LeBron ain't got no friends. That dude that he flew in from Miami, that he moved from Miami to cut his hair in Cleveland, again, man, see what I'm talking about? The Michael Jordan or Michael Jackson thing. When the people around you won't tell you, man, what you need to hear. Like, look, dude, you can't keep doing this. Like, what are you putting a wave cap? What's getting waved up right now? God. And, like, anyway, we'll get back to more on LeBron and the criticisms that come with him. But right now we're talking about Tyronn Lue. You know, this is where we saw Steve Kerr kind of cut his teeth last year. When things seemed at points be getting out of the way, getting out of hand, he went to Andre Iguodala in the starting lineup, ended up getting that dude a finals MVP, which, by the way, look at the way the finals are going this year. Who the hell is the MVP? Draymond, maybe? I know it's only 2 games, but no one really just stood out on either side. You know what I mean? And that points to what the damn Cavs are doing, man. They're talking about Tyronn Lue, that strategy that he's implementing defensively to just switch everything on Steph coming off of picks and just basically face guard him and play 4-on-4 with the other guys. So essentially, if you're going to do that, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to put LeBron James in some action, get him to switch on Steph, and then let Steph just go stand at the timeline and hang out. And bet you that Clay, Harrison Barnes, Draymond, and whoever else, whether it be Festus or Bogut, whomever else is in the game, that 4 is better than the 4 that you're going to have on your side. He just got to play Steph straight up now. Like, if Steph hit you for 50, but you in the game, I'm sure you prefer that than Steph getting 12 points or whatever it is. I think he scored like 27 points in the last 2 games. This will be, if they continue with the trend, tonight will make the only time all year that this dude is going 3 straight ball games without scoring over 20 points. And I will remind you, they lost the last game by 33. The first one by 15. That's ridiculous, man. Somebody I was looking at the other day showed a game of his in college where the coach did that. The coach put 2 people on him on out of bounds and all this kind of craziness. They end up getting like NC State or somebody, getting blasted by 30, and the coach is bragging about keeping Steph Curry in single digits. You're an idiot. Like, that shouldn't be the objective of the game. And you see what's happening now. The same thing I talked about on the other side of the court with LeBron. Make him a jump shooter. Of course, he's a good enough basketball player, so of course he'll catch the flu at certain points, and the shot will look just hella wet. But if you're playing the odds, you saw Toronto do it. You're seeing Cleveland do it. Not Cleveland. You're seeing Golden State do it in their series. Shoot the jump shot, B. If that's what you want to rock with, let's go. And we're going to try to meet you at the rim. We're going to try to make you finish over the top of things. Like, even when LeBron's getting to the rim, man, it's it's tough sledding, man. It's not a good look. And for anybody, like when people start talking about he's selling for jump shots, man, you do that. You keep going in there and getting banged around. Because the refs, I don't know, credit to them maybe, because for all the people who are like, we want to see more physical play. Well, here it is. The refs are letting these dudes play, man. They letting these dudes bang around a little bit. And you would think that might be something that is in the favor of the Cavs, but it's not. Because of the strategy that's being implemented by the coach defensively, Ty Lue. And it's gonna be a harder way of going tonight. Channing Frye's gonna have to get minutes, man. That dude's played like 5 minutes or average 5 minutes. He shot 1 3. This dude has been lighting it up from three, for like 50% from the three against Atlanta, to now not playing. It's like it almost feels like as a coach that the Warriors are in his head as well. Like you got to remember, you got to actually have that in the back of your mind. Like this is the same damn team that got the dude that I was assistant coaching for fired. You can call it some other way, but let's not trip. They had the best record in the East, but they just got their ass handed to them on Christmas Day by the team they lost to in the finals the year before that. This team that J.R. Smith was talking about how, he want them to come into the game undefeated. And the Cavs were supposed to be so mad because Steph Curry said, I hope the locker room still smell like champagne. Well, you weren't mad enough. Got that ass handed to you. At one point, it was a 40-point game. I just saw the game like last week. It was on NBA TV. Yeah, the Christmas Day Massacre. So when we start talking about the psychological effect of what a team this good can do, it's even to the point of the coach. Now, as we continue the conversation about LeBron James right here on One Mic with Big Mike, there are some things that he should be held accountable for, right? And it's one of those situations where you talk high risk, high reward with him. This is LeBron James's team, right? This team is more his than was Michael Jordan's Bulls, than was Kobe's Lakers, than was Magic's Lakers, than was Hakeem's Rockets. This team is built for and in a lot of cases by LeBron James. And when he first started doing this, I was doing shows when he first started doing this. I said it's a dangerous proposition. Now, on one end, you start winning championships doing this, being player/GM. You look like a damn genius. You look like the greatest player ever, because no one's had this much control over the dude with the checkbook. No one. I mean, look at Michael Jordan. Jerry Reinsdorf and them was like, "Hey, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this whole thing up at 6," And Mike was like, "If Phil don't come back, I ain't coming back. And if Scotty ain't coming back, I ain't coming back." And nobody came back. You know what I mean? And they didn't care. They got what they came for and moved on. So even Michael Jordan didn't have that control over Jerry Reinsdorf and those guys in Chicago. Yeah, man. This is real talk, man. But on the other side of it comes the extreme criticism and the extreme scrutiny and double and hindsight vision when it doesn't work out. It's like, look, dude, you got what you wanted. Left Miami, came back. You built the thing the way you wanted to, and now it's not working. But I will remind everyone again, ain't nobody see this Golden State thing coming. Nah, ain't nobody see it coming, man. I'm gonna take another break, and when I get back, I'm gonna move forward and start talking about tonight's game. Some of the things I saw in previous games, and some more things that should be rectified as we move forward today. We got to kind of get through a couple more of these headlines as well. It's One Mic with Big Mike on a hump day. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. Renee Cooper and Matt at East Point Made Me at 3 p.m. Media. Well, Matt's at East Point Made Me, and Renee's at 3 p.m. _media. On all the social media, make sure you guys follow them. You guys can join them in the chat room by going to my website, onemicwithbigmike.com, the number 1 MIC, WITHBIGMIKE.com. And at the bottom where you see the streaming player, you're hearing the show coming from, just click on that little thought bubble. You guys can jump on in the live interactive chat room as well. We'll come back and start talking about Game 3. Hopefully. Just hopefully it's competitive. I don't want my finals to be spoiled. I'll be back.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Derulo. I love that music connects to people all over the country. But unfortunately, so does something else. Childhood hunger. 15 million kids struggle with hunger right here in America. And yet, every year, billions of pounds of surplus food in the U.S. go to waste instead of going to the children in need. Feeding America is working to change this. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks rescues this surplus of food to help provide meals to families in virtually every community in the United States, including yours. But they just can't do this alone. Join me in the fight against hunger in America. For more information on what you can do to get involved, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Layla Ali. I might be undefeated in professional boxing, but there's one problem even I can't fight alone. Childhood hunger. Over 17 million kids in America may not know where their next meal is coming from. That's 1 in 5 children. Yet billions of pounds of surplus food produced right here in America just get thrown out every year. That's more than enough to feed every last hungry child. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids before it goes to waste. But they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by going to feedingamerica.org. Together we can knock out hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Yep, 3 segments down, 1 to go as we get on over this hump on the One Mike with Big Mike show. Appreciate everybody for joining me, man, as we have this conversation leading up to the to Game 3 of the NBA Finals, man. The show is being heard on Spreaker.com, being broadcasted on Spreaker.com every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday starting at 7 o'clock. Also via the website, onemikewithbigmike.com. The chat room is wide open for you guys if you want to jump on in. Still got time. Just go to my website or Spreaker or the Spreaker app. On that streaming player where the show is coming from, you'll see a thought bubble. Click on that, and it'll take you right to the live interactive chat room. There's something I wanted to play. I wanted to do this yesterday or Monday. Now, something I wanted to, excuse me, that was the wrong one. Something I wanted you guys to hear. And I looked at it over the break, and I just keep forgetting to play it. But it's LeBron James, and he's being asked about about Muhammad Ali, and I think that the question was about how he would have viewed the Miami Heat stand on Trayvon Martin, where they all got together, took the team picture with the hoodies on, and that situation. And LeBron gave a very peculiar answer, and I wanted you guys to hear this.
I think what's unfortunate sometimes with some of our greats and some of our role models and some of our leaders is that we don't appreciate them until they're gone. And I think that's unfortunate. But I think in Muhammad's case, I hope we was able to appreciate him from the time that he was set or stepped foot on Earth.
Well,
and along his path.
He was a baby.
From a kid all the way to a teenager, all the way to an adult, and to a father, and so on and so on.
Now, was he talking about Muhammad Ali, or is it quite possible that LeBron James was talking about himself? Because let's keep it real. The last couple decades of Muhammad Ali's life, he transformed. And a lot of people, you talk to older people about Muhammad Ali, talk about once he lost his ability to talk, people started loving him more. Like, he was, in a lot of cases, a very divisive individual, much the way LeBron James is now. And in the latter stages of his life, the last 10, 20-something years, He's become this endearing figure, this heroic figure worldwide. So he definitely wasn't in a situation where people appreciated him after he was gone. He got plenty of appreciation while he was here. Now in the case of one LBJ, not so much so. And like, look, if he was referring to himself, which I'm tempted to believe he was, because that's in his wheelhouse. He does those subliminal in English things like that. But he's right too. He's right. I honestly feel like, not when he's dead, but once he's away from the game for a while, and people get a chance to look back and do the same things that we do with Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson, and we romanticize these guys. Hopefully, people would have come to their senses by then, and realize what exactly the hell you're witnessing right now. This is like, you may not see this dude, that guy, in your lifetime, and your kids may not either. You know what I mean? A dude with all those attributes packed into one being. You may not. And it may take for him to be away from the game for a while before it's recognized as such. And while I'm talking about, guys being away from the game, I'll give you guys my breakdown on Game 3 here. Try to do it before I get up out of here tonight. But I definitely want to address this quickly, or not quickly, but as concisely as I can. These crazy, ridiculous arguments that people seem to be having, and the sheep herders over at ESPN keep acting like it's a real thing. You know what I mean? Because now what you have is just these old dudes doing what young dudes do, like on social media, reacting the way people expect them to react without any type of reality involved. It's about pride and machismo, and nothing was better. No, music was never better than it was in my day. Everyone says that. You know what I mean? Throughout history of whatever, clothing, whatever, nothing was better than what it was in your day, right? So these constant comparisons between this team, who record-wise, this Golden State Warriors team is the best team ever. And just because you never thought the record would ever be met or beat, because of how rare and how crazy it was to think about a team only losing 10 damn games in a year, and then that team having the best player, in my opinion and many other people's opinions, to ever lace up a pair of basketball shoes, you think that's going to stand on its own forever. Well, guess what? It didn't. The Golden State Warriors did it, and I mentioned earlier some of the teams they lost to, they could have even smashed the damn record. You understand? This is realness. This ain't me telling you that one team is going to beat another one. This is just facts. These are the facts of what I'm saying to you. So, people, the team that everyone wants to talk about is the 96 Bulls. Here recently, Magic Johnson comes out because Klay Thompson made a joke, kind of poking at his dad a little bit. Like, yeah, we definitely beat the Showtime Lakers. Then you start throwing in Isaiah Thomas and the bad boy guys and the 80s Celtics and so forth and so on. Somebody earlier today I heard on one of those shows talking about the Hakeem Olajuwon Rockets. Steven Jackson, he's an idiot. I like Jack because he's just crazy and funny to me. But, talking about those Baron Davis Warriors. Those Baron Davis, Steven Jackson Warriors would beat this Warriors team. You can't even really you just gotta look at him and just keep the other conversation going on. Like, you didn't even hear that. But all this is bred from ESPN and this whole, we're gonna embrace debate. All this foolish, lazy attempt at doing sports media, because it's like, yeah, man, that's just like barbershop talk. Let me tell you something. My first job as a kid, 14 years old maybe, was sweeping up hair in a barbershop every Saturday, man, from early morning to late night. And I heard a lot of stuff as a kid. And as a kid, it was cool. I was like, damn, this is awesome. But the thing about barbershop talk, and full disclosure, it's been a while since I've been in the barbershop and spent like an absorbent amount of time when I was there. I'm trying to get in and trying to get out. Like, I'm trying to go on like Tuesday afternoon, you know what I mean? So I can get in and out. So spending my weekends in a barbershop ain't really been my thing for a while, good while. But the one thing that I'm gonna guess based on what's always presented as barbershop talk, it is not intended to have substance to it. Fact checking is not a thing. It's to be entertaining and the shock value should be there. But that's pretty much it. So to be an adult and continue to have these mythological arguments, it's an exercise in stupidity. You know what I mean? There's so many different. There's too many variations or variables that you can plug into a scenario like this. One, the biggest one, of course, being you don't have time travel available to you. That's probably the biggest obstacle. But even when you start breaking down team for team, people start hollering out, who's going to guard who? Look, let me tell you something about this team, this Golden State Warriors team. They score the basketball with a certain level of ease. You know what I mean? At times. This is not grinded out, dump it into the post to Kareem or Michael Jordan in the high post or Bill Cartwright in the high post and start running the triangle and all this kind. It's not that anymore. This team is a product of the evolution of the game. You know what I mean? In any other scenario, when you start talking about things devolving, everybody'd be against it. You know what I mean? Like, you go to your job and they like, well, we're going to try to take you back to what the pay would have been for this job 20 years ago. You were like, man, you better get your ass out of here. No, you want your stuff to evolve. That's the way I feel about my sports too. Like, it's cool. Like, back then, it was cool when dudes would like get into it on the court and Moses then would fight and Charles Barkley would fight and all that kind of stuff. But now, man, I want to see dudes get buckets, man. Dudes are too skillful now. Dudes are too skillful now for me to be watching Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson get into a boxing match on the basketball court. Hell no. Because I'm just going to guess that they're probably terrible boxers. But one thing I know, they're awesome basketball players. I want to see them do that. The other thing you got to stop doing, stop using Dennis Rodman in any argument. Stop doing that. Because Dennis Rodman, again, was a product of the time. Look at now. Look at guys who specialize in things. Channing Frye. He does one thing very well. He can't find the damn court. Dennis Rodman rebounds. That's it. He ain't got no shot. He plays okay defense. On more skillful guys, it's harder. He's better against guys like Karl Malone. He was an agitator. But then when Mike wanted to get into him, he got into him. Great offensive player. And, you guys know the saying, great offense beats great defense every time. Yeah. So stop putting Dennis Rodman into the mix. Because you give me Dennis Rodman, I give you Tristan Thompson. Whatever. These dudes are just rebounders. That's it. And in this game, in this style of game now, that player doesn't exist. That one thing guy, and if that one thing is offense or is rebounding, and you causing your team to play every possession 5-on-4 offensively, no, he's not going to work the same. It's just not going to be what it is, man. So I know it's not going to stop anything, but at some point, man, put things into their proper perspective. And last thing I'm gonna say about this, we got to get back to a here I am about to sound like the old dude, but it's real, to where we can just appreciate greatness in different forms. You know what I mean? Like, Steph Curry is great now. LeBron James has been great for over a decade. Magic Johnson was great when he was great. You understand what I'm saying? It's not what's greater than the other great. Nah, it's all great, man. And the reality is, and I mention this to you guys on a regular basis, greatness is something that's fleeting, one, and two, it's something that's experienced by very few people. And the wonderful thing about it is, not even wonderful, the ironic thing about it is it's people like me, just regular people. Most of us are just regular people. We have the most to say and the most instructional ways to go about greatness. We're going to tell people who are already great how to be greater when we ain't even great ourselves. That's getting stock advice from the homeless guy. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you knew all this great stuff, you probably wouldn't be homeless, my man. That's exactly what that is. Instead of just appreciating this, You know, you feel like you about to hit somebody with the hottest Facebook post ever. Look at LeBron's first 8 years versus Steph Curry's first 8 years. Now tell me who the best player is. God, please don't reproduce. Like, if that's your thought process, if that flawed argument is the thing you think is the trump card, just do everybody a favor and don't reproduce. Because stupidity is a disease, a communicable disease. Speaking of, yeah, Steph Curry said he ain't worried about no Zika virus. That's not why he's not going to play on the Olympic team. Yeah, what Aisha say. I bet she want to have one more of them, or the option at least of having one more of them pretty babies. You go down there catching that damn Zika, it's gonna be a problem. Yeah, man. The whole Olympics, man. It's probably time to just go ahead and nix that whole thing. You know what I mean? Internet, like stuff like that, and FIFA and all that. Man, just throw the tarp on it, man. Wrap that thing up and keep it moving. All right, now I'm over that. We got about 15 minutes left in the show, and I appreciate everybody for joining me. It's One Mike with Big Mike. If you didn't get a chance to check the whole show out and you're here now, remember, you can always go to YouTube. You can always go to iTunes. You can go to TuneIn as well as Spreaker and my website, One Mike with Big Mike. And now, just recently added iHeartRadio to get all of the previous episodes or the previous minutes. Wow. The previous episodes of the previous minutes of the episode you may have missed, or if you had to leave earlier or whatever. You know, it's 2 hours, man. I ain't expecting nobody to sit down and listen to my dumb ass for a whole 2 hours. I appreciate it if you do, but my expectations just ain't that high. So moving on to tonight's game. God, you don't even understand how hopeful I am that we get to see some good basketball, man. You know what I mean? Like, the season can't end this way. It can't. So as I mentioned, the Cavs lost the last game by 33 damn points after losing by 15 in game one. They had a bunch of no-shows. J.R. Smith, no-show, back of a milk carton. Mon Shumpert showed up with a, conk. And that's what Malcolm X called. He had a conk in his joint. White people, that is a permanent, or perm as you guys shorten it, the thing you put in your hair to relax your hair. I guess it makes white people's hair curly. And Mon Shumpert's hair was curly, so you guys can relate. But back in the day, brothers used to call it a conk before I was even born. Here's the silver lining to this doo-doo cloud, this crap-smelling cloud that's over the Cavs. They are 7-0 in the playoffs at home. So they've taken advantage of the home cooking, albeit in the Eastern Conference. On the other side of the ledger, though, the Warriors are 3-4 on the road, and they've peed down their pants in a couple of game threes here in the playoffs. So there are some redeeming signs here for the Cavs. Problem is, Golden State, as I talked about earlier, the mental advantage that they have, well, they've beaten this team 7 straight times. This particular formation of the team, they've beat them 7 times. Now, LeBron James described this game as a do-or-die game, and he's absolutely correct. Ain't no hiding from it. Everybody knows it. You can't go down 3-0 because this ain't the team. Like, the same way I felt like down 3-1 to the Oklahoma City Thunder, that if any team can overcome that, I didn't think they would. Now, I'm not going to lie to y'all on that. But I did feel like if any team could, it would be this team. If any team could figure it out, it would be this team. And they did. In this series, the Cavs ain't built that way. They're too helter-skelter. Even personality-wise, the way they interact and the way they've been reported throughout the season to have interacted, it just, they don't seem like that ball club to me. That the guys believe in each other enough to believe that they can overcome these type of deficits. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, you see the difference from articles I've read today on this Golden State team and things I've heard their general manager say on television, that it is a thing, man. Like when Mark Jackson got fired and they said it was because he wasn't someone, like that dude had problems with coaches taping him, because of the stuff he would say to report him, and he fired dudes and demoted dudes during the season. He wouldn't let the front office do their gig. And they fired him and brought in Steve Kerr. And people thought they was bringing in a yes man, but they was actually bringing in a very smart basketball mind who was smart enough to know that he don't know every damn thing. Which is how that lineup of death was born. Trusting somebody else. A very little-known guy. Ken Urin. Tell me who that is, everybody. You don't know. You wouldn't be able to point him out in the lineup. But Steve Kerr knew him enough to trust him against himself. Because he didn't want to do it. But he trusted the man who was giving him the information enough to, in the finals, not in game 7 of the regular season, early in the season, let's try something. In the finals, when they were down 2-1, to give an assistant that much, is clout the best word I could use? Probably. I can't think of another word. The other thing that may be, I don't know who this serves as an advantage to. But Kevin Love is not going to play. So I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing for the Cavs. I don't think it could get any better for the Warriors if he played. You know, that dude's defense is like Swiss cheese. So and the thing about it too is, I'm gonna keep it real. It looks like he's trying sometimes, and even when he is, it's an uphill battle. The other thing I want to make sure I mention, something that I've been saying throughout the playoffs. It's been a continuous theme with me that these games only count for one. Whether you lose by 1 or you lose by 100, they count by 1. Now, obviously, the guys that they're playing are human beings. And, some psychological things could play in. But don't forget, Oklahoma City, San Antonio in game 1. Oklahoma City got ran out the gym from the tip, as a matter of fact, and ended up winning that series. In game 3, the same Oklahoma City team against Golden State bombarded them in game 3, and it looked like, man, they just got the magic. They're about to solve this puzzle, and now they're at home watching. So with that being said, let's just let the games play out. You know what I mean? Let's see how they play out as standalone entities, not like because they lost by 30 last game, they're gonna definitely get blown out tonight. Nah, I don't. Not only because I'm hoping it doesn't happen, but I don't think one thing necessarily has a direct effect on the other one. A lot of things could happen. The whistles can go a different way. Certain guys can get in foul trouble. You saw like last game, Kevin, what's that boy? Harrison Barnes just dropped one of them Fifth Ward Bs on Kevin Love, and look what's happening now. Now imagine that happening to Draymond. You know what I mean? A key figure who, by the way, is still kind of in that kind of weird area where one more questionable foul could lead to his suspension. It happened in the last series against the Cavaliers. Bismack Biyombo. It wasn't reported anyway, I don't think, but he's suspended for the first game of next year because of a flagrant. He accumulated the points in the NBA's flagrant foul system. There was a questionable one in Game 6 of that series versus the Cavs. And there was a worry that he may be suspended for Game 7, but it was on the border, so it was one of those things that maybe could have been rescinded, right? But I guess maybe the NBA says, who gives a damn? It's the first game of next year. It's the Raptors. Who cares? Suspend the dude. I would have loved to know the mindset behind it to see if he would have gotten suspended if the series would have gone to 7. But, we'll never know. This team, the Cavaliers, were shooting 40% going into this series from 3. They're shooting 27% now. Kyrie Irving himself is like 12 for 36 shooting the basketball. He's got to get better. And here's a double dose to Kyrie. Here's that double-edged sword with him. Not only is he only shooting 30-something% from the field, whoever he's guarding on the other team, the shooting percentage is 78%. That's a real ass stat. His man is shooting 78%, and I don't know what kind of mathematical differential that is, but he's only giving you 27%. That's ridiculous. I said on last week on Friday when I was talking to Ken Miller, I was like, Kyrie giveth and Kyrie taketh away. It really, at this point, he's only taking away. He ain't giving you crap. And again, they'll be without Kevin Love today. I mentioned the strategy against Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. You gotta let Steph show you that you gotta start changing. before, like at the jump in game 1, they went about like doubling Steph off the ball, trapping and blitzing the pick and roll, and he hadn't taken a shot yet. Like, let him dictate the way you're playing him. You put LeBron on him in the second quarter. Why? What has he done? He hadn't done anything. You wasting this dude's energy that you're going to need later on in the game, because Steph is like, all right, whatever, dude. You know we go 10 deep. I'm just going to run you off of screens all day long knowing I'm not going to get the ball. And know that's going to take a toll on your legs later on, man. It's I don't know, man. I really, really think that that Tyronn Lue is dropping the ball on this, man. I really feel that in my heart of hearts, man, that this area, it may be one of those things where he's trying too hard to put his stamp on these finals and not make it look the same way it looked last year when David Blatt was like, look, LeBron, here's the ball. Do whatever you need to do, because I don't know what to tell Delly. I don't know what to tell JR and Iman Shumpert. I don't know what the hell to do with them. I need Kyrie in here and Kevin Love. But since they ain't, you do it. And to the tune of 2 victories, an overtime win was one of them, he did it. Tyronn Lue's taking a different approach, man, and it's not working. And when you start talking about LeBron's fingerprints, this was seemingly his guy. He was the guy everyone talked about. Can challenge LeBron. He's the guy who can get in LeBron's face. He's the guy who LeBron listens to. Well, here we are. Here we are at a very pivotal point in this season, man, where all the decisions that have been made to this point, the ones that involve LeBron, the ones that they want us to believe didn't involve LeBron, they're all coming to a head right now, man. People are talking about this team blowing it up if it doesn't work. I don't know. I don't know. And by the way, to kind of just clarify the stat I gave you about them coming out of timeouts, being the worst team coming out of timeouts all season long, there's a caveat to that as well. It got worse when Tyronn Lue took over. Like, after David Blatt got fired, it got worse. So I know the reaction would normally be to say, well, I mean, look, they probably was sucky at it when David Blatt was there. True, but they got more sucky when Tyronn Lue took over. You know, it's crazier things have happened, man, and I'm interested in both stories. As I mentioned earlier, I'm interested in LeBron and this quote-unquote Cleveland curse, and seeing what the narrative is, what's written about LeBron if they win this series over this team. You know what I mean? Like, this ain't no bum-ass team. This ain't no Charles Barkley who loved. Like, oh, God, this whole thing about the jump shooting team, and then now the caveat is, well, they got a bunch of breaks last year. Like, that's the thing. I just don't vibe with that. Where someone accomplishes something and you got to throw a caveat on it, and you got to, like, downgrade it, and then you got to say this before you say it. I mean, there's no disrespect, but, well, guess what it's about to be. You know what I mean? As soon as you say but, you about to disrespect them. But again, like I mentioned earlier, this is what they pay him for, man. He's handsomely compensated to be that big of an idiot. And here I am thinking I'm less of an idiot, still an idiot, but less, and ain't getting a percentage of the money he getting. So who am I to judge? You know what I mean? Don't change, definitely don't change. But I won't stop criticizing, stupid mongering, like fear mongering. It's just making people more stupid. You know what I mean? Every time you turn around. So, yeah, we're getting ready for Game 3, man. I think that's all I gotta say about the game. I want to see it, and I want to come back Friday. I want to talk about it, and hopefully, my guy Kevin Willis, former Atlanta Hawk Kevin Willis, will be joining me, and he'll give me some insight on what we're looking at. And I'm definitely not gonna ask him about these old ass teams. I definitely won't do that. Asking about no old-ass team beating this team, or no former great team beating this team. It's stupid, and it's done so people can get, like, clicks. Oh, look what Magic Johnson said, and post it on something. Nah. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think I respect Kevin Willis a little bit more. Too much, and I'm appreciative if he spends the time. I'm appreciative of the time he spent before. Too much so to now be like to dumb down the damn show to make it that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm about to get up out of here. Feel me? I'm gonna get up out of here, and hopefully I helped you guys get on over the rest of that hump for today. Let me hit the drop real quick. Okay, yeah, it's over. Hump day is over for me. Right, I'm about to go watch some basketball, and if things don't turn out right, you know what I've been looking at this show called Hell on Wheels. It's like in its 5th season, but like me and my old lady been Netflix and chilling it. Common is in that joint. I think the dude from what's the name of that damn show where they predict the crime before it happens or whatever? Yeah, I think he's in there too. It's a post-slavery show. Yeah, like after the Civil War, building railroads and stuff. It's kind of hot, man. Y'all should check it out. But anyway, I'm going to go check this basketball game out. I'm going to holler at y'all on Friday. I appreciate y'all for joining me. Renee at 3pm_media. Check her out on social media. Also, my guy Matt at East Point Made Me. Appreciate y'all, and everyone else who listened but didn't join the chat. No problem, man. I appreciate you all the same. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE if you want to email me about any business inquiries or sponsorships involving the show. It's Mike at onemikewithbigmike.com. If you want to check out any previous episodes of the show, including this one, go to Spreaker, go to the website, go to TuneIn, go to iTunes, and now just recently added, you guys can also go to iHeartRadio.com. That's going to do it for me, man. Go check this game out, and I'll holler at y'all.